Well, hello everybody. We'll turn epidemic down just a little bit. I want to keep it right there, I think. Let's see, it competes a little bit in my headphones, but it's the last time I listened to a recording of my own, epidemic needed to be just a little bit louder. The purpose in having music, now that royalty-free, Epidemic is a royalty-free tune. No singing, strictly instrumental, but it keeps the bandwidth open because there's a constant flow of digital audio going over the broadcast. So if I take a breath, it doesn't go ping, and you lose your connection. So my experience has been have a little something going on in the background in lieu of having 17 people talking at once. Anyway, so it's January 19th. It's Friday. Freaky Friday. Oops, let me just close that door a little bit. There we go. Just adds a little bit of sound privacy. I have a room here with a door. How about that? Okay, look at that. There's a combination of show you the date. It shows you the temperature. At 7 a.m. it was 67 degrees. And sometime in the afternoon, up at 74. If we look at my little gauge down here, this right here, oh, there we go. That's a little brighter that way. I want to get the maximum reflectivity up into the lens. It goes up. It's 72 degrees outside, and it's 70.9 inside. Relative humidity, 59%, and an 86% chance of rain. It's been kind of rainy all day. It's kind of been a not so nasty day. Not a lot of wind. I've looked at the there's the National Weather Service, a satellite view of what's going on. You got some, this looks pretty ominous right here, this little circulatory cyclonic. And it's heading that way. See that little blue arrow? I don't know if you can see that blue arrow. 51 mile an hour winds. That's pretty windy. And how much wind is that? Well, have someone go 51 miles an hour in your car, open up your window and stick your hand out there. And then you can feel what 51 mile an hour winds is like, sustained over the entire territory. Okay, anyway, these systems are passing through, and then next week we'll get more systems. But right now it's snowing in Washington, and it's cloudy and rainy in Boca Raton. All right, let's look at what's going on here. There's just an image that popped up. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics under Mr. Biden. Bite me, Biden. Inflation under Biden administration from January 2001 to December 2023. Overall inflation from the beginning to the end is 17.6. However, food is up 37%. Seems more. Shelter is up 18%. Your apartment, your mortgage, whatever. and your energy expense is up 32.8%. Now that's pretty serious. So if you're paying $68 for your fuel to fill your fuel for your furnace, whatever, now costs $100 for the same amount of fuel. So that can get expensive, depending on the size of your fuel tank. And of course, as soon as Trump gets in, if he gets in, and all this pre-election stuff, irons itself out, and he's on the ballot, and we have an election, and he wins the election. Those are a lot of assumptions. A lot of assumptions. At 2:01 p.m. on Friday. Wow. But let's just assume that, and he gets in office. The first thing he's going to do is open up the spigots on all the oil. We got lots of liquid gold under our feet. Why would we possibly buy it from these all these Abduls, from the Arab countries? Matter of fact, the Arab countries would rather not sell us fuel. They've been fighting with us for decades. Drill your own oil. Come on. You're going to use all ours up, and then you're going to be the only one with oil. That's what the Arabs have been telling, former presidents. So Trump says, "Hey, good idea. Think we'll drill. We'll fill up the reserve. We'll start exporting oil for sale. We can use that excess cash to balance our budget and use the excess of the excess to start paying down our national debt. $1 trillion a year in selling oil to other people, it adds up to be serious money." That's his plan. He was going to do that the last time he got in office, but by the time he got all these things lined up, and he figured out how to be a president, so to speak, it was time for another election, and he lost it, and bam, he's out. Boy. So there you go. This was updated as of 11 a.m. this morning. Okay, we have a little network feedback coming in through here. All right, the Apple Store went down. Oops. There we go. Apple Store goes down ahead of the Vision Pro pre-orders. I went through the whole scenario. I have some photographs that talk about and my Avery labels just got delivered, according to my fucking waggles there. So we can just pull down here. Whoops. I think I can just pull down here. There we go. Oop. Where is it? Anyway, bring that over. There we go. I went through the entire pre-order process, except for paying, because I'm not really that interested. It went on sale. Pre-orders went on sale at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, or 5 a.m. Pacific Time. So, I don't know how many people are going to rush to the line to pay $3,800 for goggles that have undefined use. You can see your thing and you can click with your finger. For $3,800, no. There's got to be some other, like what happens with movies. So here's the Vision Pro thing, and you need Zeiss optics, like if you have reading glasses, which you can see from the side view here, I have reading glasses on. I mean, it's not much. It's 1.0. It's about as... on that little sign right there is 1.0. Which is about the lowest you can buy. It's just, I just need a little, that's when I'm looking at my computer. So if I have my head, 18 inches away from my laptop, everything is in fine focus. It's a little blurry if I don't have these cheaters on. So for $10, I get, I've got like 5 pairs of them all over the place, laying around. Barrel 2. All right, let's see how these go. Yeah, these are good. Anyway, these are 1.0s. These are probably 1.25s or 1.5 volts. Anyway, it's good. So that's $99 extra, and they get inserted in there somehow. So that way, if you need reading glasses, so you can see the incredible displays that are built into this. And 2.2, see that right there? See, available 2.2? That means February 2nd. I thought that was, I couldn't tell that was a version number or what's going on there with the 2.2. But that's available. So you order them today and pay by whatever method. They'll be shipping 2.2. Here's to look at them. That's quite a head thingy. I've worn what do you call it? Goggles similar to that with one of the drones, and it's amazing. I mean, when that thing flies around and you got the goggles on, you better be sitting down because it's so breathtaking. And then you go down, you take the you take the drone and steer it. I found a spot behind a shopping center, behind Prezzo's. There's a big parking lot for that shopping center on Military Trail. What is this? Get rid of this. There we go. So I found a little spot behind Prezzo's, and I got out my trusty, what do you call it, drone, and I fly it up a little bit, and then there's some bushes and stuff, so you got to avoid that so it doesn't close up your propellers. And then I go up over a golf course. And I'm going, over, there's golfers and this and that. I try to stay out of their line of sight, so to speak. Creep up behind them. But when you have the goggles on, it's like you're in the cockpit of the drone, because all you see is this unbelievably detailed image that's in the goggles. And that's all you see, because all the background, it is blocked out because of, all the stuff around the edges. This is a light, this is a thing that attaches to the goggle. And this has a nice, soft, comfortable, whatever, almost like earphones, but it's for your face. And, so that you get a comfortable fit. They measure your head. They had to get a head expansion module for me. No, I'm just kidding. But those people with fat heads, they modify this whole structure so that the goggles comfortably fit you. And they literally make you put your iPad up and down so the camera's on top. And it takes a video of your head, and then you gotta, go down, and then you go up, and then you go left, and you go right. Almost like what they do with Face ID. But this is to fit your fat head on these goggles. Very interesting dimension that they take to make sure things are right. So here it is. Get started. Whoops. Let's make Apple Vision Pro personal to you. Okay, first, get measured for your light seals and headband. Okay, are you ready? Set, go! Okay, so I push the button. Whoops, what happened? Anything else? Oh, that's when they measure your head and all that stuff. And, I don't think there's anything else. No, that's it. So, no more picture, what do you call it? Pictography. Yeah. So we're looking at this on these. Oops. So here's a picture of Italy going down. You can. Waters are rising. There probably used to be a street there, 100 years ago. But the street is now, underwater constantly. I actually haven't traced that with any piece of knowledge. I'm just guessing. But that's I've seen this picture before. It's very nice. Let's bring it up again. All right. Welcome to Venice, a city that floats on the dreams of artists and aspirations of photographers. Here, history lingers in the air. Romance dances along the canals. And every view is a penitentiary masterpiece waiting to be captured. Okay. All right, we got that. We did that. This is this little pictography that I have over here on the left, which I'm jiggling. It's like, you see this? This is an F, the letter F. This is in white for Flipboard, Flipboard. And you download that app onto your iPad and your iPhone. I much prefer to deal with Flipboard on my iPad. You get it on your iPhone, but yeah, it's a little cumbersome on the iPhone. But if you've got nothing else, it works just fine. But on the iPad, see how it has a nice landscape image, and then Netanyahu says he told the U.S. that he opposes a Palestinian state in any post-war scenario. Kind of slams the door on that idea. Plus, they basically are they're targeting and blowing up, raiding. They got their armies in there. They are turning it upside down. And they said that's what they're going to do. These son of a bitches, invaded our country, killed the equivalent of 31,000 people. Imagine someone coming in the United States and slaughtering 31,000 people. Well, that's the equivalent number of people in Israel that were slaughtered. So he says, well, we're gonna fix their way, and we're gonna hunt them out and kill them. So they better get out of our way. So they're going through they're going through the entire Israel, top to bottom, and flush them out. And when they start running, they start shooting. And here's North Korea starts to, there's an underwater torpedo that apparently is now capable of being nuclear with the warhead. That's not good. Everybody's, flexing their muscles because they got no one, and no one's home in the White House. He's on the beach, son of a beach, and the other people that kind of are monitoring things. We need to monitor the monitor. What do you think about that? I think I've heard that line before. U.S. and Mexican officials to resume talks on stemming immigrant surge at a meeting that they had in D.C. Just shut the door. Just tell Mexico, stop allowing illegals. They're illegal in your country, they're illegal in my country. But on your southern border, you need to shut it down. And if you don't shut your border down, we're going to start charging you big tariffs on all the stuff you export into the United States. That's what Trump did. He says it's going to cost you 25% premium if you don't stop the southern border. So they immediately signed, oh, certainly we'll do that. Oh boy, did they do that, because they don't want a big tariff on everything that's made in Mexico shipped to the United States, because it's trillions of dollars. Multiply that by 25%. That's, 250 billion for every trillion, if I understand the math right. These numbers get, I hope they don't go over a trillion, because I have to look it up and see what the next order of magnitude is. I actually don't know. Quadrillion, maybe? Yeah, it's probably that. Anyway, Trump got Mexico to stop it. And he also received, so to speak, 27,000 Mexican troops on their northern border, which is our southern border, all the way across. And they made sure none of these people were climbing through the bushes to get into our country. And then, of course, if that happens, then our border patrol people can do their jobs instead of, taking numbers and names, which is a joke. So that's what that conversation's all about. Extraordinary moment in court. The anchor reacts to judge threatening Trump. That's what's going on there. He's a tough cookie. These judges seem to be a little weird. But the Supreme Court will straighten that out, hopefully. Tesla owner dumbfounded after bizarre discovery at charging station. The fear of the future doesn't delay it. Remember, it got real cold, ice, and blah, and the chargers didn't seem to be working. Well, if you read in the manual, oh God, your battery has to, it won't charge if it's frozen. So you have to precondition your battery, which means warm it up, so that when you plug in, the charging will work, because it has to be over, like 50 degrees or something, 50, 55 degrees. So there's a procedure that you follow, which is, while you're driving towards the charging station, you execute this procedure of preparing your battery for charging. There's a button somewhere in the software so that your battery gets preconditioned. And as a matter of fact, as you head towards the charging station and the computer knows that you're running a little short on range, all you got to do is touch the screen where this message comes up to precondition your battery. So that way, when you arrive at the charging station, you're all ready to receive, thousands and thousands of watts. What? So that's what that's all about. But if you don't do that, and the temperature is, windshield doesn't matter on, inanimate objects. So whatever the temperature, 0 degrees, -1, -2, 3, that's too cold for a battery to charge itself. It has to be preconditioned to get the temperature up to, I don't know the exact temperature, but I'm going to guess 55 degrees. And unless that battery's been warmed up to at least 55 degrees, there ain't no charging going to go on, and even though you plug it in. Whereas if it's -10, you could pump gasoline into your gas tank if you had a gas guzzler. Assume you have gloves on your hand, because -10, I get cold just thinking about -10. No. Anyway, so that's what that's all about. So special counsel Jack Smith has objected to the release of 6 documents to Trump's legal team regarding the president's federal classified materials case, which is it's so ridiculous. Nonetheless, had boxes of stuff in his garage next to his, prize car. And his answer to that was, well, I locked my garage door. There's a secure location for you. On the garage floor next to his prize car, and the swing down garage door is locked. What are you kidding me? An 11-year-old can get in that garage and go through all kinds of security. And of course, he's never been a president before, so he couldn't have any classified documents, because in the SCIF, which is a secure, location, you're not allowed to take documents or stuff them in your pants or whatever, and they have officers that watch you come and go out of the SCIF, so that if you go into the SCIF, you're allowed to look at a computer screen and put in your passwords and all this stuff and review certain documents that are closed to the public or anybody else. It's private stuff. So he walked off with the stuff as a vice president. God, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years, and while he was a senator, as a senator, you don't have the authority to remove any confidential, classified, or other documentation out of the SCIF. No, you're not supposed to. You're breaking a federal law if you do. Well, he's broken a lot of it, but they go into Trump's place, which is the whole place is a secure location, because they got number of locks on the doors, and of course they are surrounded by a detail of Secret Service agents, armed and dangerous. So it's hard to even get on the property, much less know where these documents are in the basement of one of these buildings where all the boxes were placed. And, Trump says, hey, I don't know exactly what's in each box. The GSA, remember them? The General Services Administration, they get called up when Trump was to be moved out of the White House because he lost the election, and Biden is to move into the White House. This all happens rather quickly. So you got to get your crap out of there before the other guy can get his crap in there. And so The GSA sent an army of people, so to speak, into the White House and the living quarters and every quarters and get everything out of there. And then a cleaning crew comes in and they wash everything perfectly and clean the walls and the toilets and the sinks and under the sinks and around the bottom of every little nook and clean that baby like it's never been occupied. But the GSA packs everything. They don't go through any pages. They just take it and they put it in a box. They seal the box up. They put it, onto the concrete near the driveway and load it into trucks. And the trunks were then sent to Mar-a-Lago, where they got unpackaged. And of course, the Secret Service agents and others on property directed, generally where the boxes should be put, depending on where they were, what the markings were. Put in the living room, put in the dining room. Well, this is, the office of the president. Those boxes went downstairs, in a locked, large room that had its own bathroom, by the way. That's what that bathroom picture is all about. They didn't just put them in some bathroom that the public uses. Dummies. And they go in there with machine guns, for God's sakes. Oh, look what we found. Well, the Presidential Records Act actually permits him to retain anything he goddamn wants to retain. He has the power to do that. There's a Supreme Court case that has a case history that he can rely on during that litigation. So that litigation is like, unless I'm missing something, is just not, like valid. I don't get it. So, anyway, that's what this slide's all about. And he gives speeches and all this kind of stuff. Trump won, of course, since the last time I was on the air. He won Iowa by like 52%. Can you imagine? 52% of everybody that went to these caucus in the 1,600 caucus places. So people could vote for somebody else if they wanted to. But no, they want him. Why do they want him? Probably the same reason why I'm like he was not my favorite candidate when, they were going through 15 people in a Republican, years ago, not, 7 years ago. He was number 5 on my list. I was like a Marco Rubio guy. Well, that, when he got a hold of little Marco, that was, he had these names for everybody. It was really quite cute. Oh, God. What a character. See, now this is the guy, aside from his celebrity value, if you don't like, where everything says, that you don't have to invite him over for dinner, and you don't have to play with him after work, What you have to do is you have to like what he does, and ignore some of the ways, some of the things that he says, to make a point. Because he's a New York tough guy. I grew up about 8 streets away from him, where he grew up, and my father did a good job, so, selling steel to Manhattan to build all these elevated trains, throughout the city. Those L's was my father's steel. And because of that, I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth. Literally. When I was a little baby, my mother would give me applesauce served on a sterling silver spoon. Can you imagine? Forget, polished stainless steel. This was sterling silver. Solid sterling silver. You cut it in half, it's sterling silver throughout. Solid. Yeah. Can you imagine? My mother used to have a lady that'd come in and wipe down all the sterling silver to make sure there's tarnish anywhere. It used to be quite a chore, you know. All right, well, this lady, she's worried about her $1.2 million house. And when she drops dead, nicely and gently and with dignity, she wants her house, $1.2 million out of the house, and if you read the rest of the story, there's another $1.2 million worth of property, other kinds of properties, cars, jewelry, whatever. She wants that stuff to go to her son. And now she's married to somebody, not the father of her son, just a second marriage. And she's concerned about him getting the house when she really wants it to go to her son. So put him in a will. Let it go to the son. And the son and the father can work out a deal where he can stay in the house for X dollars a month. And when he drops dead, he gets out, and the house is under the, it's owned by the son. And then he decides who's going to be the next occupant. It could be him. It could be rented, or it could be sold, whatever the son wants to do. But that's how you get it to the son. You just put it in the will. Pass it on. That's what that's all about. So she's contemplating all that. And of course, lawyers are giving her all kinds of advice. Well, Jimmy just threw out a little free advice. My grandfather told me free advice is usually worth the price. 0. Okay, so here's the governor of Iowa. Oh, look at that. We can just lift her. You go right out of the hole. You can actually lift her up and put her into something else all by herself. We're not going to do it. Anyway, people are saying, well, why didn't you back up, the governor of Florida, DeSantis, the sanctimonious, as Trump says. And, Trump won 51.5% of the vote of Iowa. There was about 100,000 people who went out in minus 25 degree wind chill weather. That's wind coupled with, like a minus 5 degrees Fahrenheit. You combine the wind speed, which I don't know what it is, but on a table, you got temperature, wind speed, and then there's a line that goes down that way, and you can just put your line down there and see what the wind chill is. And apparently there was enough wind to get the wind chill, which is the, like minus 23 degrees. So a wind chill of minus 23 degrees means that if it's minus 23 degrees with no wind, is the same as minus 4 degrees with a 15-mile-an-hour wind. That's what the wind chill kind of like stands for. But remember this. If you have a putter in your hand, that putter is going to be minus 4 degrees, no matter how hard the wind is blowing. Because wind chill does not apply to inanimate objects. All the little weasels that are flying around, which are none, but all the little people that are running around to get into their car real fast. That wind chill, zips around your coat. And I used to live up there, and wind chill has a definite meaning. Because the temperature with a certain wind, combines to have a temperature that's actually lower than the actual ambient temperature because of the wind. All right. I want everyone to know that because it's a test. It's a test question. It'll be tricky. It'll be multiple choice, and it'll be tricky. You better read the answers, right? All right. A Boeing 747 cargo plane makes emergency landing shortly after takeoff from Miami Airport. So he took off. There were sparks, shooting out from the plane. So it came around and made an emergency landing at Miami International Airport shortly after takeoff. That's it. That was 5 hours ago, so we'll have to look and see what they found out. Okay, there's yours truly, my wife. Out in the ocean over the years, several years ago, about, let's see, there we go, June of 2013. And, about 10 years ago, popped up on my photo thing. She's got her sunglasses. I like those sunglasses. Pretty nice. She has a nice blue hat. And she's on the boat because you take a boat from the tower, the Boca Raton Resort Tower, over to the land side where they have a lot of the restaurants and so forth. There we go. The Boca Raton Resort and Club, a Waldorf Astoria resort. And it's got a pretty classy place. 5 stars. They sold it to somebody else, and somebody else now is managing it, running it, leasing it, so forth. See, here we're in the boat coming across over to the mainland dock. So when you go over to the beach club, you take this boat. And if you're over there, and which we were over there, you saw Maryland in the water, then you come over on the boat and get back on the mainland where the tower is and enjoy a mint julep or something. So we're on the land side. They have a couple of nice swimming pools. You can see, boats are tied up. There we go. Zoom in on that. People in the swimming pool. All right. Let's go up. There's Maryland. We're just getting off the boat. It's almost like Disney, right? Yeah, she's such a sport. I'm like snapping pictures like a crazy guy. So now we go to the top of the tower and look out one of the windows. And I'm looking north. And we live over on this, you can see it, like behind this building and a few buildings over. Anyway, you look out over all the boats and stuff. And here we are. We had a room there, and they had a special deal. They had, like a semi-formal thing with the Chamber of Commerce or something. And it was held on the Boca Raton Resort property. And they said for $99, instead of leaving Friday, stay the whole weekend. And for $99. And we did. And we go in the room, and the Boca Raton Resort has a little card in there with a bottle of champagne, iced down 2 glasses. How cool is that? You open up your room, it's all included in the $99. Come on, stay with us. Enjoy the resort. And we did. There she is. She's got a nice glass of Sauvignon Blanc, which is our favorite flavor of the day. And there she is. She looks very happy. All right, we know what this is. 2012, the Lynn University debate. And we were there. I was suited up. Look at this guy. That's Cavuto. He's not a friendly guy, actually. You know, you try to walk with him to the bathroom, and he's like in high speed. He don't want to talk to nobody. You know, his mind has been, carrying an umbrella or something. You know, he's just not a very friendly guy. So, the heck with him. There's Clay Shaw and his wife. There's Marilyn in the background. And she and I were working for the Observer TV. See, Marilyn's got her credentials. Debate. And the designation there is media. And we got these special passes to be on the spin room. This is the floor of the spin room before the debate actually got started. And here's the newsroom. And the spin room is on the other side of this blue, and you can't jump over that blue because they got all kinds of like security people. But Lynn University made a very nice, this is like in a gymnasium. And they marked off, about 20% of the whole floor area for the spin room. We had our booth over here. We're in booth number 7. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 30, 40, 50. There were like 25 booths. And there were 89 global organizations wanting a booth. And we lucked out. We kind of like made friends with the Republican officials that were managing the event. And they said, Jimmy, just tell me which booth you want. I said, I want that one. He says, it's yours. Next. So then they put everyone's numbers in a hat, and he picked them out of a hat for the other 24 booths. And he says, you don't have to worry. I just told you, your booth is there. We're not going to put your thing in the hat because you have a booth. And I said, yes, sir. Thank you very much. And I was the end of that. I stood around and watched just to make sure he wasn't kidding me. Yeah, we got a booth right. You see where the Romney booth is? In the upper right-hand corner, Romney booth. And our booth was right there, right next to right at the corner. Right in the corner. We were right next to another booth that was like National Public, the public broadcasting, like ESP. It was National Public Radio, I think, NPR. Yeah. Very, very cool. As I remember, 11 years ago. There you go. This guy was set up, in one of these big long lines of people with their computers. Everyone had a phone, separate phone number, so you could call your producer guy if he was sitting at one of these news stations. Everyone that was permitted, credentialed, I should say, had a spot. Now they could work with the spot, or they don't need the spot. Mine. Since we had a booth, we didn't spend much time at the spot. And you'll see the spot in a minute. There's Marilyn with her microphone thing. Whoops. There we go. Look how nice she looks. Definitely a TV star. She belongs on the floor for the debate. And there's Jimbo there, and he's giving Marilyn some advice on what to say, because he's like the producer for the Observer TV. And on the other side of his shoulder was a big camera, and he was going to interview her, just ask her questions about the spin room and everything. So when you can't speak to the politicians, you interview yourself, to fill in the time slot. So that's what he did. So, right? You can almost see our booth. See Romney, Ryan, and then you look right there. There's our booth, right there. This is the beginning of the booth. This is the beginning of the next booth. We weren't in the booth exactly next to Romney. We were the next one after that. I figured it would give us a little buffer. I mean, I handpicked the spot. Jimmy says, wherever you want to go, we'll set up our TV thing. And I said, well, Jimbo, let's go right there. And he said, okay. The guy that runs the space says, okay, that's yours. You don't have to be in the drawing. I said, okay, let's go. Thank you very much. Get your gear and put it in the booth. And that's what he did. Here's another view from our spot, because we had a spot. So if you stand up and you hold the camera and say, look forward, there's a lot of shit going on out there. I mean, every one of these phones are wired. I mean, you talk about cables, and oh my God, the whole place was like pulsing. And we have our little booth over there, so we didn't spend a lot of time, at one of these stations. There's a view from our station, looking at our neighbor to the left side of us, and you can see Obama right there, yakking away. And these guys are reporting on what's being heard, and when the Democrat would say something that was really good, they'd all cheer. You talk about when Romney had something to say that was really good, the room was quiet. But if your mama said something that was really thrilling, that would stir, a star on the recording or on your note taking, you could hear the whole crowd kind of cheer. Oh my God, what a bunch of liberals. It's amazing. The whole media is liberally whatever. But you can look right down all the desktops and go right down there. They're all working and writing. You can see their little out of focus there because my focus was on this microphone, which the guy that talks in that microphone wasn't there. This is the next guy. And he's looking at his computer with his headset on. And I don't know who they were. What network it. So here's Clay Shaw. There's his wife. And this lady. And her name is Brooke. Like Suchek or something like that. One of his aides. Attractive young lady, don't you think? My daughter worked for Clay Shaw. He was like retired now. So in his lapel pin, which would have been a congressional, button, that's the size of a quarter, would be right there. But he's not, you're required to wear it no matter where you go. It's kind of like what she's got over here on her shoulder, but it would be over on this shoulder. And he wasn't wearing one because he's not a sitting congressman. He retired. Oh, there's Jimmy in the booth with my brown suede jacket. And I got my hand full of business cards and things. Real Voters Watch Online. So he had this camera set up and, with online. And Jimmy and Marilyn were running around interviewing other people. Marilyn had a nice long interview with George Pataki, who was the former governor of New York. That's a pretty serious character. Marilyn had a great interview with him. Now here's, the same year, maybe a little, the same time period. So we're in our favorite restaurant at the bar at our favorite restaurant. So I said, hey, let's get a picture of the two of you. And you can see Marilyn has a watch. She's got a nice watch on. And she went along with Jimmy to have an iPhone. So she's been wearing an iPhone. She's a sport. She goes along with Jimmy. All right, so that's the end of our pictorial. That comes out to be 56 minutes and 27 seconds. You can see our trusty little thing there. We've been on air for just a little short of an hour. And it's Friday. So I'll let you go so you can go out there and face the traffic or whatever you do. And I'm going to shut down this old baby. I got to clean up the kitchen and get ready for the weekend activity, whatever that is. So please have a great afternoon and drive carefully. Have a nice weekend. See you Monday.